Okay, ladies, welcome to session 5. Quarantine seems to be still on, so we need to adapt. You know what I say? The ones who adapt the best are the ones who survive. So let's do it that way. Today's objective, we're going to change the topic. We already learned about cells and a little bit about the scientific method. And we're going to learn, as you can see from the image, a little bit about plants. And this is very important because, well, you need plants to eat your food. And in this specific situation, we need to eat a lot of healthy food to keep in good shape and face everything. So, specifically, today we will identify what plants needs to grow, what they need to grow, how they get their food, what is photosynthesis in a more precise way, because I know that you already studied it, but we are going to get a little deeper into it. And finally, understand gas exchange. So let's get on into this. Plant grow by myself. So, question is, what do plants need to grow? Do you know? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. They need a few things. We can start by proper environmental conditions, okay, like the ones provided with the sun by the sunlight, which will give the proper temperature for a plant to grow. If it's too hot, depending on the species, it will die, or if it's too cold, it won't grow. Okay, so it has to have the right temperature. It also needs the right air conditions to be oxygenized, and to have the carbon dioxide, and to do all of their other metabolic processes. Also, they have to have good soil in order to set up their roots and start growing, of course, and water to keep it straight and keep it growing. Okay, those are the environmental conditions. But also, besides the proper environmental conditions, what do plants need to grow? The same as you do. You need food. Of course, you need proper environmental conditions and also food. And food is also provided by the sunlight, which provides the energy for certain processes, the air, which provides also some elements necessary to create food, the soil as well, and of course water. So all of those 4 elements are involved in creating the proper environmental conditions for plant growth and being available to create plant to give a plant their food. And all of these together will allow a plant to properly grow from a tiny little plant, as you can observe here, to a bigger one here, until, depending on the species, it might become a tree. Okay, now, how do plants get their food? Very important question. First of all, I want to start saying that plants are autotroph beings. And a lot of people say that autotroph means that you are able to produce your own food, which is not very precise because, well, plants, they don't create their food out of nowhere. The thing that makes it different from heterotrophs is the source from where they get their ingredients to create their food. In the case of plants or autotrophs in general, they obtain their food or their nutrients, inorganic nutrients, from the abiotic environment, which means from non-living things. You and I, we get our energy and our nutrients from other living things, such as plants or animals. But in the case of autotrophs, like plants, they get their nutrients from non-living things, such as the soil or the water or things like that. And because autotrophs synthesize their own organic molecules, they are commonly referred to as producers. And we will use that word again when we get into food chains and food webs. They are the producers because they don't eat other living beings in order to be fed. They get their food from non-living things, so they are the base for the pyramid. Okay. Now, how do plants get their food? I can hear you already screaming, Miss, photosynthesis, photosynthesis. We already know about photosynthesis. Of course, that is basic knowledge. Plants get their food from photosynthesis, which produces glucose. Glucose is a type of sugar, okay? And all this, well, it's a specific type of molecule, a specific type of sugar. And all this glucose together is stored as starch. But seriously, nobody can live only on sugar, right? Do you eat only sugar? No, you eat other stuff, such as proteins and fats, right? The same goes for plants. They do not live only on sugar, they need other elements to do their metabolic processes. That is why they also have what is called mineral nutrition. So these two together are what feeds a plant. Photosynthesis, which produces glucose, but also mineral nutrition. Okay. Today we are going to focus on this part, and on our next class we are going to focus on mineral nutrition. So, what you have learned so far is that this is the process of photosynthesis in which you get food for the plant. You transform carbon dioxide into oxygen and the water, and you use carbon dioxide and water to create food and oxygen using the energy of the sun. Okay? And nothing else is involved. But it actually looks a little more like this, where you also have photosynthesis here, where you use light energy to transform carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and sugar. Okay. You also release some water through the leaves, and here you have the extra part in the roots where you get all the other minerals such as calcium, zinc, nitrogen, etc., iron, magnesium, all these minerals, and also the water. You get them from the roots, and they are distributed into all the plant. Okay, so from the soil, using the roots, you get all these minerals as well as the water. Water is used in photosynthesis, while all these minerals are not. Okay, these minerals are used in other processes on the cellular metabolism of plants. Okay, so to feed a plant, you need photosynthesis and you also need minerals. Now let's enter the following link. I already have it open, so you don't have to click it. I have it here. We are going to go a little deeper into photosynthesis. Let's start with it. So, basically, as I mentioned, plants are autotrophic beings that produce their food from non-living beings. This is the inside of a leaf. If you turn it around and you cut it, you will see something more or less like this. This is a scheme of the inside of a leaf. Leaf contain the structure that makes photosynthesis work. These structures are called chloroplasts, and you know that from our last session when we learned the characteristics of vegetal cells. These are the cells, each of these is a cell, and these tiny little points here are the chloroplasts, which are organelles that are specific from plant cells. Okay, a leaf has about 500,000 chloroplasts per square millimeter. That is a lot. They have a lot of these things. Okay, and each chloroplast contains a green pigment called chlorophyll. Let's take a look. We have a chloroplast here, and in the inside we have these tiny pigments called chlorophyll. Okay, and it's in this pigment. This is the one that reacts with the sunlight to produce the chemical reaction of photosynthesis, because it is a chemical reaction, and it also gives their green color. But their main function is to react with the sun to produce photosynthesis. So, how does it work? We get energy from the sun, which enters the leaf, and it excites all the chloroplast and the chlorophyll inside. Okay? Then we have air that enters the stomata, and it's not only air, it is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, which enters the stomata. Here, they open, and the carbon dioxide enters and reaches this area here. And then we have water. Water that comes from the root and also gets in here to create that chemical reaction. So we have three things. We have water, we have carbon dioxide, and they all react due to the energy from the sun. Okay? Then this chemical reaction happens inside the chloroplast because the chlorophyll gets excited by the sunlight, and it produces the food of the plant, which is the glucose, which is a type of sugar. And also from this chemical reaction, you get oxygen. Okay. So once the reaction is done, oxygen is released back into the environment, and the sugar travels all the way back to the plant to feed it. Okay. Sugar molecules move to the other parts of the plant or the tree, and the oxygen is released into the environment. This is the oxygen we use to breathe. Okay, and this is a very interesting part. Remember that we used to call these things veins? Well, they have specific names depending on what they carry. We have the xylem here, we have the xylem, and it's the vein that carries the water up to the leaves, from the roots to the leaves. And we also have the phloem, which moves sugar down from the leaves to the rest of the plant. So we have two types of veins, the xylem and the phloem. Okay, sugar exits the leaf through the veins and are carried down to the roots by the phloem. Okay, and this is very interesting. About half of the sugar produced during photosynthesis is used by the plant. But what happens to the other half? We will find out in the next slide. The rest of the sugar is stored in stems, seeds, fruits, and roots. So this is basically what we eat. All this sugar, which is also energy for our bodies, is stored in this part of the plant, and we can use it to get our own energy. Okay, this is how pigments work. You can take a closer look later because this is not important for today's class, but if you're curious, you can. And we already know this. And of course, photosynthesis is very important because first it gives, obviously it gives food to the plant, sugar to the plant, and also it provides us with oxygen that we can breathe. Trees, peoples, and animals depend on each other to survive. This is very important. Remember what I keep on saying? We are all connected and we all depend on each other. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, tin, 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 tin. Let's play a little bit. Create photosynthesis. Click, drag the three necessary ingredients for photosynthesis to the leaves. Okay, so I have to carry them to the leaves. 1. Provides light energy, of course, sunlight. 2. Enters through the roots. Which one enters through the roots? This one, water. and absorb through the stomata. Remember the little round cells that open and close? Carbon dioxide, of course. And the result is sugar and oxygen. We are missing here one plant, oxygen. Okay, perfect. We did awesome. Let's go back to our presentation. So basically, from photosynthesis, we have carbon dioxide joined together with water, which is activated through life energy, this reaction in the chloroplast, okay, specifically by the chlorophyll, which is the pigment that gets excited with the sunlight and makes these two react to create sugar and oxygen. We have the reactants that are carbon dioxide and water, and we have the products which are sugar and oxygen. Okay, so mixing carbon dioxide and water, we create sugar and oxygen. Sugar for the plant, oxygen for us. And if we wanted to be more specific, this is the chemical formula. We have 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, plus 6 molecules of water, transformed by the energy provided by light, okay, to get just 1 molecule of sugar and 6 molecules of oxygen. So you require 6 and 6 of each to create only 1 molecule of sugar. If you wanted to have 2 molecules of sugar, you would need 12 molecules of carbon dioxide and 12 molecules of water, and so on if you want to have 3 or 4, and so on. Okay, now let's take a small break, breathing, breathe out, and let's go to this. Remember, this was the structure of the leaf. This is the cuticle, these are the cells, these are the chloroplast, inside is the chlorophyll, we have the xylem and the phloem, and here we have the stomata. Okay, this is a very simple scheme, but here we have a more precise one. See, this might seem a little harder, but just breathe and take a look at it. It's just the same. We have the cuticle here, we have the cuticle here, we have the palisade cells here, we have them here as well. We have the air and the spongy area here, we have it here as well. We have the stomata with their guard cells, we have them here as well. This whole thing is the stomata, and each of these red areas are 1 guard cell and 1 guard cell. Okay, we have the xylem and phloem, we have the xylem and phloem. It's pretty much the same, but this is more realistic. And as you can see here, they have like air spaces, what is called air spaces, because this is the spongy layer. And do you know why does it have to be like that? Well, basically the same as in our lungs, because that way they can retain the gases that are flowing from the stomata to the cells and from the cells back out. So in this area, in this region, you can keep all the gases, which are the carbon dioxide and the oxygen. Okay, carbon dioxide goes in and oxygen comes out through this area called the stomata. And here's another look at the stomata. You have all the cells around it, and this here is the stomata, which is composed of 2 guardian cells. Okay, and they have a thick inner wall, and they have, just like every other cell, their nucleus and their chloroplast and stuff like that. And the stoma opens and closes in order to allow the oxygen or the carbon dioxide in and out of the leaf. Let's see if this video works. Okay,
A plant leaf is covered with a waxy cuticle to present.
and it opens.
During photosynthesis, because of
Mm-hmm. So, from what we learned, we have here the stomata, and it opens and closes to let in and out the gases, but also to let in and out water. So imagine if leaves didn't have stomatas, there would be no place to let oxygen in and out. I mean, oxygen out and carbon dioxide in during photosynthesis. Okay, but if the leaf only had holes and not this kind of structure that closes and opens, then all the water would come out of the leaf, and the leaf and the plant would dehydrate, and of course it would die. So it is very important to have this structure that will regulate the entrance of and exit of gases and also the exit of water. Okay, these are very important structures to help in gas exchange and also to avoid water loss to keep our plant hydrated and happy. Okay, let's see. This is basically it. If you need further information, you can watch this video on YouTube, which is very nice and very specific. And also, if you want to play a game, you can follow. You can use the following link. Let me show you how it looks like. It's something like this. And there it goes, where you have to play to create glucose and oxygen or carbon dioxide and water, depending on what they ask you to do. And that's pretty much it, ladies. I hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, I'm going to be online to answer all of them. Remember to take your time, read all the instructions, and just relax. This is very simple, and you're going to be able to do it. Don't worry. Stay safe. Muchos kisses. Adios. Ciao, babies.